Ohio homeowners, you better pay attention because the housing market is quietly shifting right under your feet. In certain metros, price declines are accelerating. In others, values look frozen. And still, there are markets where prices continue to skyrocket. And on this week's Ohio Housing Nerd Update, I'm diving in deep to markets across the state, including many areas that you, the viewer, requested. If you have a market you'd like me to look at on a future Ohio Housing Nerd video, drop it in the comments below, and I prioritize those that are public subscribers. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let's get started on this data. And the first thing we're going to look at are the new listings. In other words, the number of houses that are actually hitting the market. And this is a look at the entire state of Ohio. Then we're going to drop down into the specific areas. And trust me, you don't want to miss that because there are tons of markets I'm reviewing today. It's going to be a doozy video. So when you look at just new listings, the houses that are actually coming to market, we're actually down year over year. And this is for the month of August, down 2.8%. So there's actually fewer listings hitting the market right now than there was this time last year. That's not good if you want continued inventory to build, and that will normally decrease prices. So new listings are not performing the way we want them to. They're not really cooperating. Let's look at the active inventory and see what that's doing right now. So if I look at the inventory right now, the good news is we're still up. You can see here up 12% year over year. And if I look at the value, actually how many are on the market, you can see we have about 30,379 active homes for sale at the end of August, according to Redfin. And if you just look back at this trend, I want you to pay attention to this. This is really important. And, you know, few people really think about this from a historical trend. But if you look back in 2012, like let's go to August of 2012, we had 70,324 active homes on the market in August of 2012. Crazy, right? I mean, that was like, I mean, that's nuts. I mean, that's over double what we have right now. And you can see the number of homes for sale in the state has steadily dropped over the past decade. I mean, it just has until COVID hit, and that really destroyed us. I mean, here, let me find August of a year where we had really low inventory. Let's see. Right here. Let's use this. Look at August of 2023, just a couple years ago, we only had 21,000 active listings. And then this August, again, 30,000 active listings. So went from 70,000 all the way down to 20,000. Now we're starting to build a little bit, but we're not even close, like not even close to what we have had historically regarding the number of homes on the market. And comment below, does that surprise you? I mean, even as the housing nerd, when I look at this chart, it continues to amaze me. So now we're going to look at the demand because we just looked at the supply end. So how many homes are actually being sold in the entire state, and how is that trending? Well, we're basically treading water right now. It's not really increasing. It's not decreasing. I mean, we're almost flat, just up 0.5% year over year. So buyers are not rushing into the housing market, at least according to the August data. We'll have to see how that trends because interest rates are slightly lower than what they were a few months ago. But make no mistake, it's not like buyers have ran back into the housing market and they're buying up everything. So kind of sellers and buyers right now are really at a standstill. And that's really that frozen market that we've been talking about for what seems like years now. And it doesn't look like at this point it's being unstuck. I mean, if you look back in June real quick, you can see that we had 8.3% more home sales in June of this year versus last year, but that demand has kind of cooled a little bit. So closed sales are sliding, fewer deals are getting done. Here's a stat I don't always show you, but this is months of supply, and this measures the basically demand and supply equilibrium. And so how this is measured is they look at all the homes on the market right now, the 30,000 listings, and then they look at the home sales over the past year, and they come up with a ratio and say, all right, if we didn't add any more new listings to the market and we have the current supply we have now at the current trend of demand, how long would the current inventory last? Well, right now, it would last about 2.4 months is what they're saying. And that's low. I mean, that's a seller's market. It has gone up slightly in the last year, couple years, right? It's actually trended up a little bit, but look back in 2012 again, we had nearly 11 months of supply. So we had a lot more supply than demand, but the demand has really taken hold over the past decade. As you can see, months of supply continued to fall, and now it's risen just a little, just a hair more, not enough to really make a difference, unfortunately. Still very low supply compared to demand that's out there in the market and the pace at which people are purchasing homes. Throughout this video, comment below and let me know what you're seeing in your market. Are you seeing more homes on the market, fewer homes on the market? Do you know somebody who's looking for a house right now? Give me your take on the demand, the supply in your specific area, and be sure to list where you live. All right, now we're going to look at median sale price, and this basically measures the value of the home that's in the middle of all the sold homes. So if you look at the number of homes we sold and look at the one in the middle, that's what median sale price is. It's not average, but right now it comes in at $272,000. And this is a common way that a lot of economists will look at the housing market. And last month it was at 280 grand. It really hasn't changed that much month over month. It kind of goes up and down. You can tell every single year that's the flow of the prices. But right now we are up nearly 6% year over year. But overall, prices in Ohio, folks, continue to rise. However, there are areas of the state where that is changing. We're going to look at that in more depth on today's video, so stay tuned. But up 5.7, if you round up 6% year over year increase. So for the deep dive into the metros, zip codes, and counties, I'm using two different types of data. I'm going to look at the Redfin data that you're seeing here on the screen. Then I'm actually going to look at Zillow data because it breaks it down by zip code, and that'll give us like a hyper local look at some of these values. Before we get into the specific zip codes in Ohio, look at the United States as a whole. You can see the Midwest is where all the price gains are. The Northeast has a lot of price gains. Even the central part and kind of some of the mountain states still have a lot of price gains. But if you go out west into the Northwest, down into the Southwest, Texas, Florida, some of the warmer states, that's where all the price declines are happening, mainly because inventory has grown the most in those areas and because there's a lot of new construction in those areas. Unfortunately, Ohio doesn't have a lot of new construction. That may surprise you, but we don't. We're woefully undersupplied in new construction. If you look at the Northeast, same story, right? A lot of price growth, not a lot of new construction. And if you're from that area, you'd know. If you go down to Florida, Texas, out west, tons of new construction, sprawling developments of new builds. If you're looking for a new construction home, folks, in a warm area, now would be the time to shop because there are deals down there. Now, if I look at the state of Ohio as a whole and kind of understand, again, where are the prices growing? Where are they falling? I mean, it's clear to me that the central part of the state is where prices are declining more. Like, for instance, like 43206 in Franklin County inside Columbus, down 0.6% year over year. And if I look at 43223, you're going to look and see down 0.3%. And 43228 is flat right now. And 43219 down 0.4%. So in Franklin County as a whole, we're seeing prices slow. In fact, Franklin County's only up 1% year over year if you look at the entire county. But if I go up into Cleveland, in the northeast area of the state, you can see there's a lot more blue. There are some areas inside Cleveland that are declining, though. Don't get it twisted. Look at 44113. Down 3.7% year over year. Look at 44106, down 3.3%. We're definitely seeing falling prices inside of the metro area of Cleveland. We're also seeing it, as I showed you, inside Columbus. Outside of Cleveland, a lot more home price growth. Like, look at 44140, up 6.6%. And look at 44012, up 5.7%, and 44011 up 5.2%. As far as price declines, price increases go, the same would hold true for an area down like in Dayton, where you can see some markets. I mean, look at this one. Zip code 45417, down 5.7%. Look at 45402 in the Dayton area, down 5.47%. I've got this zip code here down 5.7%, 45416. I mean, at the end of the day, you continue to see the inner city of some of these metros where the price declines are happening, whereas around it, you're not seeing those declines as much. Like look at 45426, up 6.2%. And if I look at 45439 in Dayton, up 6.4%. And then 45449 up 5.1%. And again, the same thing happens in Cincinnati. I mean, look, I can find a couple spots here where home prices are declining. Look at this. 45205 down 5% year over year. And you can see they actually show the typical home value according to Zillow, $137,000. And look at like 45001 down 7.5% year over year. And if we look outside of Cincinnati, like 45249 up 6.4%. So a huge bifurcation in the market depending on where exactly you are inside the city or around the city. But what I'm going to do now is jump back into some county level data that you guys requested. You can either leave a zip code in the comments or a city, or you can leave a county if you'd like to know about the entire county you're in, and I can analyze it on a future video. But let's start with Clark County, Ohio. And you can see if we look at inventory, the number of homes for sale has continued to increase over the last couple years. We actually obviously hit a low during COVID, as everybody did. If you look back historically, had a lot more homes for sale. Now, not near as many, but you are adding inventory. That's good. So let's now look at median sale price and see where we are. $210,000 for the median sale price. Let's see how that's doing year over year. It's actually up 15% year over year for the entire county of Clark County, Ohio, which is near Dayton. And the zip code I picked on here is 45504 in Springfield. We know the county, Clark, is actually up year over year in prices. We know that. This is telling us the story saying, hey, it is up 4.6% for zip code 45504. And the same holds true if I look at 45503, 5.3% increase in home values year over year, typical home value about 192 grand. And if I look at the area of Springfield, you can tell it's mostly blue. Like, so that area, home prices are still growing there. It could be because it's out of Dayton, it's out of the city, maybe a smaller town. You can see this zip code 45372. It's a very small population zip code, but that's down 1.5% year over year. Home values there cheaper, $124,000. So that's the Springfield area in Clark County that somebody requested. And then now let's go to West Cincinnati. Somebody asked me to look at West Cincinnati. So again, because we have this hyper level zip code data, I'm going to look at West Cincinnati. And if I look at this area, 45248 up 1.8%. Here's a zip code that's down in home values, 45001 down 7.5%. That's a big drop year over year. If I go out a little bit, there is some more home price growth. Look at this, 45052 up 4.4%, 45030 up 3.3%. Yeah, I mean, and that typical home value, look at that, $313,000. And what I'm seeing overall, I continue to say it, home price growth is accelerating in some of these outskirt areas of the city. Out in the country, you can see there's a lot of blue, but inside, closer to the metropolitan areas, maybe some softer price growth. And here's 45053 up 3.5%. Look at the typical home value, 442, for almost $443,000. And the same with this zip code, 45056 up 2.4%, $331,000. Actually, close to $332,000. So now we're going to shift to Delaware County, Ohio, and we're going to look at that Redfin overall view of the county. Then we're going to dive into some of these zip codes again. So look at the number of homes for sale, 802. The trend is clearly up. I mean, there are more homes for sale than they had, back in a few years ago, but not as many as, as they had in 2012. That's just kind of the way this thing's rolling, no matter really where you look in the US and in Ohio. But let's now look at median sale price and see how that's doing. $524,000 for the county. Let's look at year over year decrease or increase, up 4%. So home prices overall in Delaware County are rising, although it's not 27% like we saw in January of 2021, but nonetheless, the home price growth is there. Now, let's look at the zip codes and see what we can find out. So let's start with 43015, up 2.5% year over year. Typical home value is $404,000. And then now let's go down and look at 43035, which is actually Lewis Center, I believe. And when you look at that area, you could see home price growth is barely nudging forward, 0.9% growth. So buyers are no longer paying anything the seller's asking for the houses. It's not COVID anymore. If you're a seller, remember this. You can't just price your home anywhere you want. You have to price it according to the market. And if you don't, your home's going to sit and you'll lose. And if I look at 43065, which is like the Powell area, you can see home prices up 1.8% there year over year. You can tell it's Powell because the home value is a typical value, 500 and nearly 550 grand. So that's an expensive market, no doubt. Everyone wants to be in Powell, in that Jerome Village market. Now look at 43021, which is still in Delaware County, up 2.4% year over year. Look at the typical home value, $629,000. I have a viewer on my channel who's asked for New California, and I'm looking at 43064. This home value is coming in at $540,000. That's just up 1% year over year. Home price growth, like I keep saying, is cooling even in trendy areas like this. But if homes are priced right, they will sell. So this area of Central Ohio, I can tell you, is very hot. A lot of people want to be over in this market. So now we're going to go out east of Columbus and look at a request I received for New Albany, Ohio, which is right near the Intel plant, 43054, up 2.5%, typical home value, $570,000. And let's go a little further east and see what we can find. 43031 is the Johnstown area, which is really where the Intel plant is. Home value shift up just 0.6%, barely up year over year, $430,000. My guess is the prices just make zero sense for the locals. It is what it is, folks. Like the typical person trying to buy a $200,000, $300,000 house is priced completely out of the market. And then if you look at 43001, that's the Alexandria area, very close to Intel as well, up 1.6%. Home values there now, $467,000. Got to double check that, but that's right. Unbelievable. I mean, just stupid, ridiculous expensive. If I head a little further east into Granville, 43023, home values are only up 0.1% year over year. Typical value, $508,000. I had someone ask me for Medina, Ohio, so I'm doing 44256. Year over year shift up 4%, still growing. Home price is still elevated there. $372,000 is the typical home price. Now I'm looking at Springboro, Ohio, 45066. Year over year shift in home price, 2.6% up. Typical home value, expensive market, $426,000. So I look at inventory in Knox County, it's up 16%, but really let's look at the value and see how that's trended over time. Well, inventory of homes for sale in Knox County, 209 units. You can see that's grown over the past few years, no doubt about it, a lot more inventory. Let's find out, though, what's happening with median sale price. Median sale price, $300,000. I mean, that's definitely priced the locals out there. It's just ridiculous. There are a lot of properties out there with acreage, though. So maybe that's contributing to it, but the fact remains 300 grand. And let's see if that's up year over year or not. It's actually nearly flat, up just 0.3%. You can see at one point they were up 72% in home values in 1 month year over year. That's not even something we don't want to look at. But yeah, home values have continued to increase there. But let's look at a zip code level and find out what's really happening. So if I look at 43050 for Mount Vernon, I can see typical home value. This says is $240,000 approximately. But remember, that's the zip code versus the county. That's the difference. And that's why I'm bringing you this zip code level data. It's definitely a lot to look at. It's not easy for me to navigate some of this, but I think it's valuable to look at zip code level data and county level data. So county has it at 300 grand for the median sale price, but zip code level look is 240 grand, but that is up 5%. So home values continue to increase in the Mount Vernon, Knox County area. Now we're going to look at 44644 in Carroll County, Ohio. I had this request from a viewer. Home prices there up 5.1% year over year. The typical home value, $280,000. So home prices continue to go up, but we'll see if that slows. This is kind of an interesting part of the state because I think as we move along, we're going to see some of these markets shift a lot that are outside of the major metropolitan areas. I mean, some areas probably will grow as people get sick of living in the city. There may be areas where the smaller population centers actually deteriorate and we see more and more people move back into the metros. You let me know what you think. Kind of seeing a mixed bag right now, but up 5.1% in 44644. Now we're going to jump down into the city of Columbus, 43214 zip code, up 2%. Typical home value, $401,000. It's a pretty expensive part of Columbus because Columbus median sale price. Actually, let's look at Columbus and find out what that looks like from a median sale price and kind of just get a look here. So if I look at the city just of Columbus, the entire actual city itself, city limits, $300,000 is the median sale price. And if I look at inventory, let's find out what's happening. Inventory 2,571. Let's look at the year over year change. Year over year change 22%. A lot more homes inside the city of Columbus versus last year for sale. I keep seeing that. I think that's why we're seeing some price deterioration inside of the metro areas. But again, if I go back to the zip code that was requested, 43214, which is in Columbus, you can see home value, $402,000 basically. That's a pretty expensive area of CBUS. Now I'm going to look at 44822, which is Butler, Ohio. Funny story. They used to have a ski resort there. I would go to ski resort right in Ohio. Funny, right? But yeah, I used to go there as a high schooler all the time. Clear Fork, I believe, was in Butler, Ohio. But 44822, year over year shift, 5% up in home prices. Typical home value, $251,000. Prices continue to grow in Butler, Ohio. That was a request. Hope that helped. I had a few people ask me for Licking County, Ohio. Well, we're looking at the county right now, according to Redfin Trends, 22% increase in inventory. If I look at median sale price, let's find out where that is. Median sale price. Oh, let me go back to inventory real quick. Let me show you this. Let's look at the value of inventory first, because this is pretty crazy. It's 655 homes for sale. But if you go back through the years, we're definitely adding homes for sale in Licking County. There's no doubt about it. We don't have as many as we had back in 2012, 14, as you can see. But man, we definitely have more than we've had over the last few years. As that inventory continues to climb, we should see prices soften somewhat, you'd think, right? Well, let's look at median sale price. Hasn't shown it yet. $355,000 for Licking County, Ohio. I mean, what can I say? I mean, the prices there, and I live in Licking County, they just continue to go up. A lot of people think it's because of Granville, because the Granville zip code carries a lot of home value with it. The median price, we already looked at that, was about $508,000 or so. But there are a lot of areas around Licking County that are expensive as well. Let's see if we can find out what's happening on the ground there, because I'm really interested. Again, very close to the Intel plant. A lot of people moving into Licking County because of, relatively lower home prices, overall. But as you can see, they are increasing. 43055, which is Newark, up 1.1%. Typical home value, $243,000. I mean, this was probably 100 and low 100s at one point, relatively, in the last few years. And I'm a realtor in this area. I see these prices constantly, and first-time buyers, as they are in many areas, and you tell me what you think, have been priced mostly out of the market. I mean, the median income in Newark just can't support these type of home values. But let me look at some other areas inside of Licking County. Look at 43056. That's the Heath area. Home values, $300,000. Year-over-year shift, 0.6% up. So home values aren't skyrocketing in Heath anymore like they were before, but they're still elevated. Probably a lot of people priced out of the market. So yeah, look at 43062, which is like the Pataskala area, still in Licking County, 378, nearly $380,000. So those type of areas. So an area like 43062 is definitely keeping prices elevated for the entire county. I mean, that's a lot, right, compared to Newark. If I look at $467,000. So a lot of these areas that are near the Intel plant have had elevated home prices, no doubt. And just in general, Licking County is popular. I had someone ask me about the Youngstown market. And so I looked at this 44509. Look at this shift 4.2% up year over year. $81,000. If I find another zip code here in the Youngstown market, 44513, up 7%, $178,000. Look at this one, 44512, up 6%, $195,000. I mean, really, like the Youngstown area looks like it's doing great. Like it could be, it could not be, but this one zip code here, 44506, down 11%. Home values there only $33,000. I'm not sure what's up with that one. If you know, let me know, comment below and tell me. But like this zip code 44484, up 8%, nearly 191 grand. Maybe because home prices are under $200,000 there. But I mean, Youngstown looks like it's faring quite better than some of the other metros. I mean, let me look now at like the Toledo market as well, because this is something that I'm curious about. I can see some declines there, like this one, 43607, down 4%. I can see this one here, 43604, down 7%. The home values, though, I mean, 60 grand. Is that right? I mean, in Toledo, you buy a house for 60 grand. 43613, up 6%. 43623 in Toledo, up 6.8%. So there are areas in Toledo that are growing in pricing, some that are falling. The other area of the state where I see continued home price growth is like this northeastern part of the area, where 44095, up 4%. 44060, up 5%. 44077, up 4%. 44041, up 7% if I'm rounding up. So you've got kind of Kelly's Island, Put-in Bay type area, up 5%. 43438, $400,000 median sale price. Now let me look at some of these more rural counties and see if we can find anything. Look at 43787, down 7% in home values since last year. 43766, down 17% in home values. That may be one of the biggest decliners I've seen. Let's find some areas where they're going up. 45701, up 7%. 45714, up 7%, down by the river. 45638, up 7.6%, $112,000. Now, I spent this whole video really talking about prices, but inventory will drive the price narrative, basically. So as you increase the number of homes for sale, prices come down. Obviously, I've said that a million times, but in this video, mainly focused on prices. In a future video, I'll hit on both inventory and prices. And I'm looking to restructure these maps a little bit so that they're a little easier for us to, navigate, because it's quite daunting as I'm clicking through this. But I hope this helped. I hope you understand a little bit more about your housing market. Again, if you have an area you want me to review on a future Ohio Housing Nerd video, drop it in the comments below. I prioritize the subscribers first if I can, and I will be doing some lives coming up as time allows. I'm Jason Ferrier. I'm with Kiger Realty. I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Ohio. If you want to buy or sell a property in central Ohio, Columbus, surrounding areas of that, I definitely can help you personally. And if you need a referral to another agent in Ohio or outside of Ohio, I can help you as well. Hit me up on my email. It's in the links below. And YouTube thinks you'll like this next video right here.